Hi and welcome back. This time we're going to make a crazy quilt, and we've got lots of scrap fabric to deal with. In fact, this is one I made a couple of years ago, and I am making this design. Instead of the all striped ones that you can see in the pattern, I'm going to make these ones. So I've cut myself a pattern, which is here. You can do any size you want. And then I drew out my black. I do like black in a quilt, so I've done black for the inside, and then we'll be doing this colour for my borders, which are around the edge, just there. And I should be using any cotton reels to use them up as well. These are what you wind up during other projects that need a certain colour. This is a scrap project, so I should be using these up as well so as not to waste cotton on the top and the bottom. And this is the box that I've got all my scraps in, so I'll just walk you over so have a quick look. There you go. And these are the two fabrics that I've got for the borders, and that's completely full of all different colours, all different scraps, which I've had to go and cut into strips ready, all different sizes, all different colours, and then that's it. Then we just and I'll continue to show you how to do a square. So I've sewn the first one off. I've changed my needle to make sure it's a brand new needle for a brand new project. I've done it on a 2.5 stitch because it's for a quilt. I've put my tension on between 4 and 5 for this machine because it's cotton, and that seems absolutely fine. And I've checked the fact that I've got a 1/4 inch. So this is the first one I've put on, and I've checked all that by doing that. New needle, 1/4 inch seam, checked my tension, and it's a 2.5 stitch, which is absolutely fine on there. So I've got all my scrap here, look, ready out of the box. Took my first handful, and I just start. You know, you can either match the colours up, so you do each block a similar colour or a matching colour, or you can just do any and have it completely scrappy. Right, I've put the first pit on, and you do a 1/4 inch, so you're this way, then you're checking your tension. I've got it on a 2.5 stitch. I know it's a 1/4 inch because this is a cut, and that's the distance I need. I've pressed it open, pressed the seams open, and then that's when you cut. Basically, this is the shape I'm following, so I need to keep this shape all the time. So you put your ruler on your shape on one of your sides, and then you cut down, and then it was that side I wanted to do, and this side, and then you've still got scrap left for another shape. Then you find another piece and then you follow it round in a circle. So I've got my second. I've ironed this next piece because it's all creased, lined it up with the line, and then again just go straight down. Knock it off, cut. Just cut this off, you don't need all that one. And then what we're going to do again is take it to the ironing board. Now if you want to, you can actually set up a little section on your table if you've got a small iron where you can actually do it without moving. I'm again going to open that seam and press, and obviously this time I want to make sure that I'm following this black line to keep. I've already still got that shape there and that one. Now I want to cut that way, so I'm going to press that open first. again I've pressed it open, press the seam out, and this keeps the bulk of the seams down so they're not so big. And obviously that's the top edge I want to follow. So put your ruler across your black and then cut, and that one will still fit on something else. And you could actually follow this one now, or you can leave this one till later, and obviously then this becomes the bottom of your pattern, and then you just cut across there like that. So as you can see, the next one I'll put on will be across there, and then I'll work my way round until I'm back to where I started. This was my first. It's a bit like a log cabin where you have to go round, and then you just keep flattening at the back. Again, we've got the next bit on, and always make sure that your seams are flat at the back before you sew them. This is a different length here, a width to here. It doesn't matter what you use, it's a crazy quilt, so cut that bit off there to use for another day. Take it to the ironing board and press this seam open. This makes sure that it doesn't get too bulky when you've got a lot of fabric together. And then again you cut around your shapes with your ruler to keep it in line with this shape. So you cut in that way and you cut in that way, and then the next one you put on will be this side. And again, once you've opened, you've pressed and opened your seam, then just follow your black shape to cut that bit off. You can actually do this one shape after another. You don't have to keep stopping and starting for each one. You can do it like a production line. And there's the back where it's all still neat and tidy and all the seams are flat, and that helps with the sewing later on. So just continue. The next one will go this way. And this time we will press and iron open that seam, and then we'll follow this pattern by putting that way across there and that way across there. And then obviously we need to follow this line going on to here. I've started to use starch. That helps the seams to stay flat. So that's another aid to help you keep a check on all these seams at the back by using starch. And obviously then this is the seam we want to watch down here to keep this straight going across. Even that would come in handy with something else. And as you can see, now we've only got one more bit to do, and that's here, and then we've covered the sides, and then you keep going round and round until you make it as large as you want. So we just do this bit. So with this time you have to make sure it's long enough to go from one side to the other. We're now getting bigger. Make sure your seams are flat. There you go, that's that bit now. So all sides of the black have now been touched with another fabric, and obviously then we need to keep that one going across there and that one going across down to there, which then will keep this shape all the way through the quilt. So this time we need to follow this line, so put your ruler on this side, get it straight across here and cut this, and again we need to follow this one, so again you need to get your ruler flat across there, and then you can cut that way. And as you can see, I've used 2 large ones here and 3 different sizes throughout. I should continue around until I have it roughly the size I wish. I've added a few more bits around the edges. Once you've got the initial ones next to your centre, then it doesn't matter then which order you go to, because it is a crazy quilt and that doesn't have to be in the centre. But I've added a few more bits. Then you pick a square, any size you want, and you put it on. If you completely cover all 4 sides, then you know that's the size you want. It doesn't necessarily mean that your black has to stay in the centre. Mine is always going to be off centre because I want a crazy quilt, but obviously that isn't. I can see there's a gap there, so I need to add on them 2 sides, and possibly I probably need to add one more thin round. I don't need to do thick, I would just need to do thin all the way round, and then that should be enough. So I'll put a few more sides on, so basically it's that size now, and then move, if you whichever side, you could do a 6 by 6, you don't have to, you can do a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12, it's entirely up to you. Move this around till it fits, and mine fits if I do that. So I've got something in all corners. Do I want my black this side, or do I want it further in the middle? So I think, so once you get it this square on top of your fabric, so you know everything's covered, then, and obviously then you've got more fabric for more scraps. Then cut all the way around, trying to keep that level. Turn again, and now this time you see you've got a right angle that you can put your ruler to get the last 2 sides, making sure it's completely straight. And now you've got whatever size this ruler is, whatever size you choose. This one is a 9.5, so I've got a 9.5 by a 9.5 square crazy block, and all these seams are being starched down. Basically when I starch, you only starch the corners, these ones that you want, the seams, the bulk that you want to keep flat. So basically that's the first one, and then this is where the border comes in, because I want, that's the 2 things that are going to stay constant in this quilt is the centre, which is black, and that's my up and that's my down. So, and my borders. So I should measure across here now and put 2 borders in the sides, then measure across the top and bottom, and then cut them and put them, and then from now on I should be using this to do my size for all, and then cut this according to what sizes I've got. So there's the finished block, and that's the way I want it. Looks like an arrow, but it's not an arrow, but that's the way I want mine. That's my top and that's my bottom. I've got my border on, which would be the only other thing other than the black that's constant, and it roughly measures about 13.25 by 13.25, and if I just turn it over, I just caught one seam in mine, which was that one just there, but that's not too bad, it's not too bulky. I'm not going to worry about it or anything. Oh, and I've just caught that seam there as well. So that's the only thing really you have to be conscious about all the time, is the seams. is making sure that they stay flat as much as possible, and that reduces the bulk in the back. But other than that, that's not too bad at all. It is a scrappy quilt. It's what I call a crazy quilt. I do like the black centre. And so 13 1/4 by, so by the time it's finished and it's all made up, it'll measure 13 by 13. So I hope you enjoyed. It's easy. I hope you have a go. I hope you enjoyed watching how I put it together. Any questions, please ask, and I'm sure there's more than one tutorial for crazy quilts. But it's a free pattern. You can do this any shape you want. You could do a square, a triangle, 5 sides, 6 sides, any shape you wish in the middle. You can have it, you can make it finish up any way that you want, not always in the centre. Mine's just slightly off centre, and each one will be different. So it's up to you what you choose to do. It's your quilt, your scraps. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and ring the little bell, and each time I bring a new video you'll be notified. And when I've completely finished this, then I'll come back and do another video.